Hello, this is the Manto Teacher with a response video to a video that was done on me, and we're going to watch it and respond.
It's been not
I I hid as much as possible because I don't want them. I mean, I'm extremely small. I just don't want people going over there and
very long, but
saying
I
something.
already thought of an idea for a new video. Yay! So I'm going to explain this in a very simplistic way that anyone can possibly understand. So on my most recent video, I mentioned that there is a trans genocide happening. And I got a comment from somebody who has been literally leaving the dumbest possible comments on every single one of my videos.
It's a kind of what poison the well here, saying my comments are dumb. But let's continue.
Ever since I started making leftist content. And normally I'm just like, oh, haha, well, agree to disagree.
Oh, like making out them to be more charitable than I am, apparently.
This time, no. There is no, like, agree to disagree here. You just are uneducated and kind of an asshole.
That may be true. I don't mean to be, but honestly, I've been working on it. Like phrasing things are not the best thing. I've tried to do like phrase things, say things differently, but I could be. I'm not going to deny that.
So he says, I'm worried about you since you believe trans people are being genocided, which, from what I can tell, is just not true.
I want to emphasize that from what I can tell, this is simply not true.
As someone that belongs to a race that was, in fact, done to, it's a bit of a shock. It's a bit of shock to hear that. You are more than welcome to believe that, though.
Wrong.
Now that last line, that last line is what really fucking set me off.
I mean, all everything else was okay, but the last line.
Like, just
Listening
the
up.
passive aggressiveness of.
I mean, I might have been here. Like, I try not to be, but the way that I phrase stuff can be bad. I've tried to work on it, and if I did come off passive aggressive, I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're not being genocided, sweaty, but you're more than welcome to think that, and you're.
I never said you were not being genocided. I obviously said, for what I can tell, that's not the case. There is a difference.
Your own little, like, fantasy world. That is,
Also, never said that.
like, so incredibly fucking rude. This was a video that I was opening up about these shitty experiences that I'm going through, and you.
Mainly about trans legislation, but yeah, and I've disagree with a lot of stuff. Like was it the can't remember. They're trying to ban something in Tennessee. Oh, it's drag shows. That's what it is, and that didn't pass. Obviously, that was shit wasn't going to pass. But mainly, the legislation is to stop minors from transitioning. Um, honestly, if I'm transphobic for saying this, then I am. I was like, because that seems to be a pretty logical thing to do. Just wait until you're 18. After 18, then have the surgery. We kind of we restrict as a society, children at certain ages from driving, drinking, smoking, voting. I don't see there's a difference between all that and a surgery that is extremely impactful. Just my opinion. If that makes me transphobic, I guess I'm transphobic. There's nothing else I can say about that. That's just what I believe in. Like, it's just a logical thing to me.
My friend go to my, supposedly my friend, go to my comment section to devalue what is happening to my people right now.
It's not devaluing what is happening. It's simply not.
History is not going to look kindly on people like you.
then I guess they don't. I'm sorry to you to say that, hear you say that, but like I'm going to be the villain. I'm some kind of Nazi or something.
Really, but okay. Supposedly, we're not being genocided, right? So, putting aside the obvious openly genocidal rhetoric coming from people like Matt Walsh or Mike.
What he said wasn't actually genocidal. You actually misrepresented what he said beforehand. He said the ideology itself needs to die, not people themselves need to die. And even if you want to argue that what he said is a cultural genocide, like no one gives a fuck about Marshall. I'm sorry, they do not. I mean, he does have a pretty decent following on YouTube, but the average person outside of YouTube don't know who the fuck Mac Walsh is. So he's not had like this huge influence. Let's say, for argument's sake, he did have a huge influence. Um, I don't see any proof that what he said has enacted trans people to be hurt or murdered in any way. So,
Michael Knowles. Let's look at the definition of genocide, shall we?
let's see.
Genocide is the intentional destruction of a people in whole or in part. In 1948, the United Nations Genocide Convention defined genocide as any of 5 acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, national, ethnical, God, that's a hard word to say, racial or religious group. These 5 acts were killing members of the group,
Which is not happening.
causing them serious bodily or mental harm.
Again, where is that happening? I mean, you could argue that the legislation is kind of second-handing doing that by not like restricting certain surgeries and gender care affirming uh, things to minors. But again,
Imposing living conditions intended to destroy the group, preventing births, and forcibly transferring children out of the group.
no one's forcibly doing that. I've seen articles. I have to look more into it about like certain states going in there if a kid wants to transition, they would go in there and take the child and have them transition. I've seen that, but not the opposite way around. Maybe that's just a completely bullshit thing. I have to look in more into that though, so I can't say for certain.
Okay, I just really wanted to, really stress that.
Not the whole totality of the meaning of genocide, just one part of it, but forcibly transferring children out of a group, which I don't, I've yet to see that.
Last one. Yeah, so there is a concept known as cultural genocide where people are not literally
Again, my race was literally culture genocide.
gunned down or put into concentration camps yet.
I don't know if I know they're not joking about that, but honestly, that's just like, you really think they're going to put people in like trans people in concentration camp? Like, it feels like it's fear mongering at that point to say that.
But
That's never going to happen.
there are
You can't say never going to happen. Never say never, because look at all the shit we United States pulled, China, Japan, any other country, they pulled some shit. I just don't see it ever happening here, as long as the Constitution at least remains. I mean, one day it's a possibility, but I just don't ever see it happening. At least on my lifetime.
attempts to systemically erase that culture.
How though? Show me how. Show me I'm wrong.
And in doing so, erasing the people within the culture, right? So a lot of these states are doing, they're saying that gender and sex are in fact the same thing, and they are
What's what? I don't get what's wrong with these statements. I don't think that is transphobic to say. Like, science has been. I know it changes, but saying that, I really see nothing wrong with saying these things. I really do not think it's transphobic to say there's two genders. I just don't see it. I've tried, trust me. You're probably not going to believe me. Probably not going to watch this video. But the more I try to go into it and understand it, the more confusing it is. Because it really logically doesn't make sense to me. It's not like I won't learn. I'm not. I'm like I won't learn it or I won't understand it. Maybe I just simply can't. Maybe I'm so fucking stupid. Maybe I'm so just ridiculously retarded that I just can't grasp the fucking concept. That's that's perfectly valid. Maybe I'm just too fucking stupid to get it. That could be
immutable,
a
they cannot
possibility.
be changed. You are legally not allowed to, change your gender on your license.
In most states, yes, you are actually able to. That's changed quite a bit, depending on what state you live in, of course.
Your um
So
birth
that's more of a half truth.
certificate.
No, the birth certificate, I understand why that's a harder thing to do. A lot of things are tied to your ID, and when you're I think that could be very bad if they didn't have any kind of restrictions on what and how what you can change, including your birth certificate, your ID, your name, your sex. That can be extremely confusing, especially from to getting jobs, to voting, to just basically anything. If there's not any restrictions, you just change it whenever you feel like it. I think it can get really fucking confusing really quickly. Maybe I'm just completely wrong about that. I could see that being a really big problem, especially in a system like that where you could just change your name, sex, whatever you feel like at any moment, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Again, if that makes me transphobic, I'm sorry, but that's just something that I kind of understand why they not. There's some restrictions on that because getting things done because pretty much everything's tied to your identification. So
Your whatever, and we're going to make it much, much, much more difficult for you to medically transition, right? So in Florida,
only minors really.
they had a ban on 80% of all medical transitioning for all adults. So basically, they banned nurse practitioners from providing gender affirming care. And
I don't know how true this is. I would have to look into it more. But you do have a bad habit of misrepresenting what is actually happening. You've done that a couple times with me. Sorry, that I hate to say that about you. I don't mean that any ill intent or trying to be a jackass about it, but you do misrepresent some of the things you've said to me.
And what do you know? 80% of the gender affirming care that is provided in Florida are from nurse practitioners. There are states like Missouri that have basically made it impossible to transition as an adult through bureaucracy, right?
How so? You don't really go into too much detail about that.
This is all
I have to look into
cultural
that again. I
erasure,
have to
taking
look
away
into it.
your ability to medically transition. Take
Mainly it's minors. Yeah, I've seen adult, and they've tried to legislate that, which is wrong to even try to fucking do that. After 18, there should be no fucking problems. Now, if a medical, uh, I guess, insurance wants to cover that, that's up to them. That's their personal choice whether or not to cover you. many think this should be covered, but that's something I think there's a lot of risk to it, so that's why they don't assure it. But as I was saying, like, again, I need more context on that.
Taking away your ability to legally transition. This is cultural erasure, cultural
There's they restrict it, but it's not outright like against the law. I know they try to do that with adults, but honestly, that's gonna fail. I know that it's fucked up that they tried. I 100% agree. That is so fucked up. They tried to ban this stuff as an adult. Uh, they shouldn't have freaking tried it in the first place. They fucking know it's gonna fail. Why they fucking do it in the first place, I don't fucking know.
genocide. This is the
That's not the same though. It's not the same as an actual cultural genocide and an actual genocide, like what the Native Americans actually went through. That's why I brought that up.
textbook definition, right? And we
I mean, you have to take the whole totality of the definition for it to actually fit that description.
see these influx of anti-trans legislation happening all
Again, like what? It's mainly for minors, from what I can tell. I'm 100% against doing that as an adult. I know it's, as again, it's fucked up that they even try to do it, right? They they know it's gonna fail, 100%. Just like the ban
across
in
this
Tennessee.
country,
They knew it was gonna fail. They fucking.
but mainly in deep red states, of course. And
Not always deep red states. There's some
you know,
states that do it as well.
the Holocaust.
And even Europe has stopped these practices to transition people because they don't know the effects on it.
Holocaust, for instance, you think that started out by Jews being thrown into you think it started out that way? You need to read up on your history a little bit better, I think. Because that didn't start until about 38 or 39. From 33 to 37, it was just, oh, we need to pass this legislation to...
Yeah, they banned guns, too.
Curb international Jewry, and, we need to put regulations on...
I get where you were coming from. It started out small, and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden they're in concentration camps. But they didn't have a constitution, for one. That's a major blockade. I hate to just bring that up, but it's a huge thing that there is a pretty good balance of power within the Senate. Thank God there is. That's the only thing I really appreciate about the whole fucking process over there, is even the president, the most powerful person, can't do things just on a whim. And they did strike down the thing in Tennessee with the cross-dressing thing and the ban on that. Like, not the cross-dressing. I just can't fucking think right now.
Jewish businesses, and maybe we shouldn't allow Jewish people and other of the Untermensch to own firearms and blah 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 blah. It did not.
It just wasn't the Jewish that they did that to. It's like the whole. They think the government can do a better job with the guns.
Start out by just people being gunned down on the streets and put into camps, right? It started out gradually through...
Still not a fair comparison. In my opinion, that's not a fair comparison.
Anti-Jewish, anti-Untermensch, quote-unquote, legislation. And it just kept getting gradually worse. So... spare me you're more than welcome to believe that. No, you're more than welcome to actually read a fucking book. That is...
I don't think you know what I've actually read. I've read quite a few. And I still struggle to understand it.
This is what you are more than welcome to do, alright? And, it might seem a little overkill for me to make an entire video about one person commenting, but it's not just this person. Like, this is a belief held by so many different fucking people, mainly on the right side of the political
I am not right-sided. Let's get that straight. I'm not.
spectrum. So I just needed to set the record straight. Cultural genocide is a thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm Native American, so I fucking know, and it's not even comparable to what happened there.
And it is happening right now,
Okay, show me how it's happening.
whether you want to believe it or not. Just because, and this person is Native American, so that's what they're referring to by genocide, just because there hasn't been a trail of tears for trans people yet,
Again, yet is hyperbolic and a bit fear-mongering. Let's be honest.
does not mean this is not a cultural genocide. So, I suggest this
Kind of depending on how you want to define it or how you look at
person
it.
who commented and others who hold this very narrow-minded
It's not really narrow-minded.
viewpoint to do a little bit more research, to read up
I've done a lot of research. You have no idea how much I've actually researched about it.
a little bit more
no
on
idea.
history to
No
see
idea.
how these things start out. That's
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know.
really all I have to say. Also, can I just say one more thing? You know, it really goes to show how shitty of a friend you are, that the reason you're worried about me is not because I'm living in a state that is actively discriminating against me and making my life worse.
I am pretty sad that I lost this friend over some political stuff, which honestly I really do think it was over some political differences, despite what you want to think or say about me. Just simply are just faults and straight up a lie. Since I think there's only two genders, does not make me transphobic. Bottom line, feel like I'm being guilted into saying something I just don't believe in. I'm not going to do that, regardless of how much of a friend you are to me. That's something I won't give up my, I guess, allergy for that. If I have one, I'm pretty centered. Okay, so that's unfortunate that had to come to this, and even though you apologized and said you don't believe you're not transphobic, I'm pretty sure that was a lie. You really did think I was. That's more, I guess, hurtful than anything you replied back to me saying my takes are stupid. I need to keep my dumbass opinions to myself. I mean, if I have dumbass opinions, well, by proxy, kind of makes me a dumbass. Well, I didn't call you a dumbass, so I said your opinions are dumbass. Like, semantics. It's unfortunate, it really is, that it turned out this way. Kind of seen it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see it coming, but it's just so, I guess, polarizing to what we believe in. Is just wasn't ever going to work out. Very unfortunate. I wish I didn't come to this, but there's nothing really I can do. I don't disagree with people just to disagree. That's just not the case. Maybe I do have some shitty opinions. Maybe I do need to keep my opinions to myself from now on. Can't offend any people, anybody if I keep my opinions to myself. I'll just put my political videos up, and whoever wants to listen to them will, like I've done with this one. If they agree, fine. If they disagree, also fine. Now, I will not block this person. I will not I will still consider you a friend even after all this is said and done. So, I have not blocked you anywhere. You're more welcome to talk to me anytime. You want to friend me back? You want to be your friends again? I'm perfectly up for it. Don't want to do that? I understand. It's unfortunate I had to come to that. But this, I guess that's how it is sometimes. Maybe I'm just actually too retarded to get it. I've actually tried. You don't know what I've researched. You don't know what I've read. You really have not. And I have really have tried. You have no idea what I've read. No idea how much research I put into it. So to make a claim I have tried not to do this stuff, I have. I still don't understand it. Then it's not a lack of willing. It's a lack of abling to do it. There's a difference between able to do it. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it. Maybe I'm just not willing. Maybe I am just that retarded. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Comment, subscribe.